Hello and welcome back to Transfer Portal CFB presented by NoContextCFB. We're doing a lot of different things here and we're super excited to have on an elite streamer, just mind in general. This guy's outstanding in every way, every facet of the game, all the stuff he does. He's got 1.1 million followers over on Twitch, like 266K on YouTube, a lot of Twitter followers as well, a lot more than me. So that's kind of tough. Anyway, it's Esfand TV. What's up,
Hey,
Esfand?
how's it going? I'm good. I'm doing great actually. So it's been a good time recently. Things have been fun. There's a lot of football stuff coming up with the draft, and there's a lot of good stuff coming up on Twitch with games. There's been a lot of good games and stuff recently. So I'm just happy. It's just a good time. So
Esfand is just happy. Dylan, are you happy?
I'm absolutely happy. This is a really cool opportunity for us to kind of intertwine with, the gaming world. And obviously you've got some following in the college football world as well. So we're excited to have you on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so the first thing that we kind of just wanted to ask you was about, because you were at SMU and you were trying to play football and then you were on staff, but where did the spark to create content come from after your football career came to a close?
Yeah, so man, this is like I'm gonna try and tell the story as best I can because it goes in like 8 different directions. But basically you wanna start with how I started making content specifically.
Yeah.
So I was in between jobs after I graduated because I worked on staff at SMU for a little bit, and I thought I was going to have a position there, a full-time position whenever I graduated, and I didn't because of some stuff with administration. They ended up having to cut the position, budget stuff, money, corporate, that kind of stuff. So they ended up not having that position for me. So whenever I graduated, I took some time off and was just kind of like taking care of myself, whatever. And I was looking for jobs, and I was working on my teaching certificate in case I wanted to coach high school football. And then, just kind of talking to coaches that I knew other places and trying to figure something else out. In the meantime, I started playing these like vanilla, like original classic WoW private servers that were hosted, in Europe somewhere. I don't know. But they were like, they were illegal. But I started playing this thing because I used to play vanilla WoW back in like 2004. Like I was pretty good at the game back then. Actually I was okay whenever I was younger, but I played it a lot. So I knew a lot about the game, but I wasn't really that good because I was still a kid. So whenever I came back and played, I was like pretty good, and I knew a lot about what I was talking about. So I started making these videos because I wanted to just stay in practice of like, okay, I want to tell people about like what I do, because what I do is considered pretty bad. I played a Retribution Paladin. They're considered terrible, but I was like performing pretty decently with it. And I want to stay in practice just video editing and stuff because I wanted to be able to, if I wanted to get a job in college football somewhere, I wanted to be able to, if I wanted to work in video, I could work in video. If I wanted to work on the equipment staff, then, maybe we can get on the equipment staff. If we want to work on, in the weight room again, then, we could do that too. Just, I wanted to put myself in a position where I could do pretty much anything to kind of get my foot in the door. But really what I wanted to do is, really recruiting or coaching, ideally. That's what I really wanted to get into, is coaching. But I wanted to put myself in a position where I'm like in practice of doing whatever I want or whatever I can so that I can just make myself available. So yeah, that's really how it started. It literally just started by me making these videos because I was just trying to stay in practice in between jobs.
So what was your role when you were working at SMU?
So I was a walk-on for June Jones, and I walked on the team, and I basically got hurt like right away. So that was like a long process in and of itself, like before I even walked on. But I walked on, ended up getting hurt, and then this was the season before he left. So I didn't play that season. I ended up getting injured, and I didn't do anything with football actually in that fall. And then whenever they left, that staff got fired. Some coaches, some people still got retained on staff, and somebody who was on that old staff called me up and was like, "Hey, we know you're a good guy. You're smart. You know the tech stuff. You know football. You love SMU. All these things. We know you can't play anymore, but this new coaching staff with Chad Morris that came in, they want to do some more like they want to do things a little bit more like advanced than how June Jones wanted to do it. Would you be down to come like help us out and like volunteer a little bit with like video and stuff?" So I said, sure. So I ended up going to help out with some like football video stuff. And I like within 2 weeks, I was doing like graphics for social media, recruiting. I was like helping run the Twitter. I ended up doing pretty much like everything that was like not on the field coaching. Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I did. I wasn't doing on-field coaching equipment, and I wasn't working in the weight room. I did actually, before I walk on, work in I did work in the weight room, which is actually kind of how I ended up walking on, but that's an even longer story, but yeah.
Absolutely. What has it been like for you to, you're talking about trying to find that job, that in-between job, and now you're one of the most popular streamers in this booming industry. What has that been like for you to blossom in this, during that time after, kind of a hectic football career?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it has to do with I was in the right place at the right time, I think. I mean, I ended up going from, in between jobs. I started making videos. I started streaming on YouTube actually in 2017 because I didn't have hard drive space on my computer, and I wanted to record my raids whenever we go and like do these big 40-man raids. I wanted to record them, and I didn't have hard drive space, so I was like, well, I can just stream it on YouTube and it'll stay there. So that's literally how I started streaming. And I would stream like 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week. But yeah, I did that, and then a lot of it, like I said, was right place, right time. I was having fun with it. I was doing some stuff on the green screen. I was like, making little videos and stuff, just doing goofy stuff. And like I said, in the meantime, working on my teaching certificate because I really did want to go coach. So I was, I knew coaches in high school through either working at SMU or even coaches that I had played for, who were like, if like once you're ready, just let me know. Like we'll get you a job. So I was like, okay, So I was working on that, and then as time went on, I ended up my channel just kind of kept growing, and it wasn't really a big deal. It was fun, whatever. I was just kind of doing it on the side to just while I was working on other stuff. And then what ended up happening was Classic WoW officially got announced. Blizzard came out and they said, hey, we are going to re-release the original game officially, because there's this growing community. There's tons and tons of people that want to play original WoW again, because World of Warcraft has changed so much over the years. People want to play the original game. They don't want to play this one that's out now, the retail version of the game. And I mean, it was just immediately like boom, overnight, because a lot of people knew me as like I was one of like the main people in that community for doing that. And I kind of became like, I was like the Retribution Paladin guy, and then I kind of became the Classic WoW guy over time. Yeah, over time, that's just kind of what happened. So again, a lot of it was right place, right time. Like I was I guess like kind of primed for it, but as soon as there was like an actual opportunity for a new game release, then that was kind of like the catalyst. So it still took plenty of time after that, because it took like 2 years after the announcement for the game to actually come out, and then that was like the big thing. But like it was almost like I got a bite on the fishing pole, and I was like, okay, well, I got to stick with this now, because I could have just bailed and then just gone to coaching or whatever, and kind of like what I thought I was going to do. But I mean, I got a bite, and I was like, okay, well, like we gotta go all in on this and just see what happens.
Are you sure Coach Esfand isn't waiting for Nick Saban to step down?
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, actually. So yeah, you never really know what's going to happen. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no.
Interesting.
I don't
That's a
want
scoop.
to. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I just don't want to give anything away. The storyline. It's just it's all up to fate.
Yeah. The transfer portal CFB can confirm that Esfand is on the short list for replacements for Nick Saban. Breaking news. We'll put that on Twitter.
Huge.
Yeah, I think I get fired at halftime of the first game.
Alabama's not down with ice cream dinner for winners.
Yeah, I mean, I see the one thing that I'm not a nutritionist, so I just give them ice cream to shut them up sometimes. But yeah, I don't really know if that's actually good or not for them.
Giving away a strategy right there. Some coaches that are listening might use that in the future. When you look back at your time at SMU, going from football playing days to the coaching to the social media stuff, video work, what is your favorite memory? What do you look back at most fondly?
Man, that's a good question. What is my most fond memory at SMU? I guess what I look back on most fondly, whenever I joined the team was really that was pretty special because I mean it's pretty hard to get on a team as a walk, depending on the school you go to actually, but like it was kind of hard to get on as a walk on because it took me a few years because they just straight up didn't have tryouts for a while. They just didn't have walk on tryouts, and I would go and they're like, well, sorry, we're not doing tryouts this year. And then I didn't have I'm only 6 feet tall, and I played O-line in high school. So I played O-line in high school. I didn't play defense. Well, actually, what's funny? I had an injury going into my senior year of high school, and they were getting ready to play me both ways. And then I had the injury, and because I had the injury, they ended up just having me stay on offense, where I just played for years. And then I only ended up playing maybe like 5 or 6 plays across like 2 or 3 games of defense in high school. So I effectively had like no film. I had like no football film. I had some O-line film, but I had like no like D-line film. So they were kind of like, okay, well, you don't really have D-line film, and I wasn't super physically impressive. Like people on Twitch see me and they're like, you're huge. But like, I mean, for college football, I'm 6 feet tall, right? Like I'm not like, you don't look at me and it's like, yeah, that guy's a freak. We got to teach him how to play football. So it was kind of a long journey. I tried like every semester to be like, are you guys doing walk-ons? No. Are you guys doing walk-ons? No. Eventually I kind of like gave up, and that's whenever I started working in the weight room. I was like, I just want to be involved with the team at this point, right? And I started working in the weight room, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but whenever I was working in the weight room, the strength coach, Coach Mel, he's like, you're as strong as like everybody out here. Why are you not trying to walk on? And I was like, well, I was trying to walk on. He's like, it's like, what are you doing? Like you should try and walk on. And so that's kind of like how it happened, because then because I would just go, I'd go help out. I'd help with all the weight room stuff, and then I would just work out in there. And he was like, yeah, you're like just about as strong as anybody else on the team. So that's whenever I did join the team, and like we did some testing and stuff, and I was like second or third strongest guy on the team, like right whenever I joined, but I ended up hurting my neck like right away. So it was just one of those things, like whenever it's like your body can only handle so much, right? But I do think actually getting on the team was really special. I'm giving like a really long-winded answer because there's like I'm also like kind of like working through my memory here. Getting on the team itself was really really cool, and just kind of like the locker room atmosphere, getting back in that, because I was away from it for a couple of years, because I was removed from high school for a couple of years. But another one, I had a lot of good times actually working on staff. I also really 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 did like working on staff. Just like spending time with the coaches, and we had a helicopter, a recruiting helicopter, because Texas has so many different schools that are just really in close proximity. So we would have me, our head coach, our recruiting coordinator, and a position coach get in a helicopter, and we would fly to all these different schools. We would try and hit 6 schools in a night or something. I don't know. But we would try to hit a bunch of schools in a night. So getting to fly a helicopter a few times a year was actually pretty sick too whenever I was working. Getting a ride a helicopter. But yeah, and I would do like the social media and stuff while we were there. We also had, I would say individual craziest moment would have to be whenever we beat Houston at home, and Houston was number 11 in the. Actually, do I have my? Hold on, let me get this down here. Houston was number 16, I think. I thought they were 11. Oh no, hold on. No, they were number 11. Give me a second.
Getting some inside scoop here. Look at this.
Here, I can get this.
That's an athlete.
Skills.
Yeah. This is our we all got, everybody on staff got game balls for can you even see this? Is this flipped? Okay, good. I don't know if it was flipped or not, but yeah, everybody got game balls for this game because it was our first win against the top 25 with Coach Morris. So yeah, that was whenever Houston was number 11, and they were like, that was also kind of like an inside like rivalry a little bit, like because they had Tom Herman at Houston, and Tom Herman and Chad Morris they were like the two kind of like the hot offensive coordinators coming up, and Tom Herman went there. Chad Morris goes to SMU, and there's also kind of a rivalry between Dallas and Houston anyway. So it was just like it was kind of like this like build up, and then whenever we won, it was just like it was awesome. Like people came and they like ran down on the field, and it was just so sick. It was so sick. That was a really good memory, I would say, individual memory.
Can we shout out? It looked like you were using from what I could see, it looked like you were using like a Guitar Hero guitar to get that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Talk about.
Band. Yeah, rock
there
band
you
actually.
Go.
Yeah, we do rock band streams here sometime. I have like this whole place like mic'd up, and I got the drum set over there, and so yeah, it was that was a rock band guitar. So
right on. Well, I mean, it's crazy because one thing that's so unique about you is you're not just like a gaming streamer. You do so many different things on YouTube and on Twitch, and it's really impressive that you build a following of doing so many different things. But coming from your college football experience, how would you like to teach your audience and help them learn a little bit more about college football and get them attached to our world?
Okay, so that's true. A lot of what I do is not I don't do one thing, especially now. Like I used to, whenever I started, it did start from like World of Warcraft, sure. But like now I probably do as much, if not more than like different things, like different categories of content that don't even relate to one another than probably any other streamer, going from the sports stuff to the gaming, IRL, cooking. I just do all this different stuff now. So the best way that I've noticed that you have to like deliver the content to people, the best way to deliver it is you have to kind of lower the barrier of entry. So if I want to do football content, sometimes that's hard to do whenever you're talking about stuff. Like if I'm talking about if I'm like talking about like free agency or something, sometimes it's kind of hard. But if I'm doing things like playing Madden and I'm I want to stream a game of Madden, or I want to do franchise mode, well, I need to lower the barrier of entry by finding ways to make it entertaining outside of this is just football. So what I do like the coach speeches, and I get on the green screen, I talk to the team, and I make content around football itself to make it more interesting and to draw people in. And then people are like, well, hell, I'm here anyway, I might as well figure out how this game works. So then they start getting interested in that regard. And even with the tailgate, right? The tailgate is like we do Esfand's Tailgate Tour. We go to a bunch of different schools, and the the core of what it is, it's an IRL stream, right? It's not really, it's adjacent to football. It's adjacent to college football, but it's not really college football because you don't have to know about, you don't have to know who Bijan Robinson or CJ Stroud, or you don't need to know who these people are to watch and enjoy those streams. You don't even need to know where the schools are. Now it'll make it more enjoyable if you do know, but at the end of the day, it's an IRL stream where you're just walking around a bunch of drunk people outside, and talking to them, which is, I mean, that's entertaining enough as it is. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like how I do it, is by trying to lower that barrier of entry as much as I can, and that way people can digest the content more easily.
Yeah, I mean, how did Esfand's Tailgate Tour come about, though? Where did this idea spark?
So I had the idea whenever, I had the idea whenever I think I was like, I think I was like looking at like some old SMU stuff. I was looking at some old SMU stuff, and initially, oh man, this was, I guess I kind of got the idea like, I think 2 years before I started doing it. I got the idea a long time before I started doing it. I was looking at some old SMU stuff, and I was like, oh, I should go back to visit, because I didn't even do a whole lot of the tailgating myself when I was in college. Like I did a little bit. SMU has the Boulevard, and it's it's considered like a pretty it's a smaller tailgate, but it's pretty good. It's a good tailgate. It's decent, I should say. But I was like, what would be cool if I went back and I went an IRL stream to tailgate, and I did. I went and I IRL streamed to tailgate at SMU in like 2019, just a one-off. And close to home, I was like, let's just go do this. This will be fun. And I did that with BJP, who is actually Soda Poppin's older brother. So we went and we went to SMU, did a tailgate there, and I was like, that was kind of cool. But I was like, I want to make this like a consistent show where I go and I hit however maybe 6, 8, 10 schools in a season, and then just go and see all these people, just who are enjoying college football. And then that way, if I do this is basically an IRL stream. Nobody else on Twitch is doing this, and like as far as like football guys on Twitch, there's not really a whole lot of like other like football guys who are on Twitch. So I was like, yeah, like why not me? Like I should be the guy that goes and does that. I already do a bunch of IRL streams. It's just like a perfect, it's like the perfect apex of like everything I'm interested in, everything I do. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how it got started. We did that one, and then I was like, man, I really want to do this like consistently, like as a show. And then, yeah, we just kind of kept it going. There was some, there's some like struggles and stuff with that, but that's kind of the core of how it happened.
Yeah, definitely are some struggles when you're trying to figure out where to go on such a short notice. Talk to us about, and to those listening, about the process of choosing games and venues for this and how that goes, because I know that is chaotic.
Dude, let me tell you, they don't post the schedule until, I think if you're lucky, it's 2 weeks before. They don't post, not the schedule. They don't post the time of when the game is played until 2 weeks before, if you're lucky. Sometimes it'll be the week before. So we end up not being able to actually plan a game until the week of. Excuse me. Sorry. We end up not planning a game until the week before a lot of times, because I'm trying to go live at like the same time every week. So the reason why I want to go live at the same time, there's really 3 reasons. One, it's if you go live at like 11, 12-ish Texas time, then I have like the expectation, like the viewers have the expectation of when the show starts. So that helps. 2, that's also whenever I normally start my streams every day, is like 12 o'clock Texas time. And then, so again, it just kind of reiterates that in case people don't know tailgate's happening for whatever reason. Then the other reason is you have like, oh goodness, I just got hit with yawns. Okay, I'm good. The other reason is you have I feel like the travel is a little bit easier because if we want to leave the night of instead of staying 2 nights, then I can go do the tailgate. So stream starts at noon, game starts at 3, and there's a lot of times where we end up leaving at halftime or we don't end up staying the whole game so we can catch a flight, or maybe we can catch a flight and we just have to like book it right away. So there are times where we just have to like leave right away. But if we do a 3 o'clock game, like we definitely couldn't do that with a night game, but we could maybe do that with a 3 o'clock start. So yeah, those are like a lot of the main reasons. Otherwise, we have to stay an extra night, and then I have to travel in the morning, and then I lose like an extra day of streaming, and then you have to stay an extra night, so that's more cost. And that's another big thing. Tailgate cost, like the cost of tailgate is like a lot to travel that much and like to have everything situated. And then from the tech side of things, one of the main reasons nobody else does this is because it takes so much from a tech standpoint to be able to support the streams. I mean, like we have like a crazy IRL backpack unit with like a bunch of modems and stuff in it, and it's yeah. In fact, the one that I have, I think I have one of 2 on Twitch, and then the other one is owned by OTK. So I think like the specific unit that I have, I own both of them. So yeah, they it's yeah, that's a whole thing too. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's how I decide. You know, is I have to pick that time, and then well, I guess, and also the game. The game does matter, but not as much as the culture and the environment of the school, because a lot of times if you're going to a hyped up game, then the fans will be a little bit more hyped. Like I went to that Georgia Tennessee game, which ended up being horrible, but the environment was insane. Oh my gosh, the environment was insane. I don't know why I'm just like getting like attacked by yawning. Okay. The environment for that game was absolutely nuts. We had like 30,000 people watching it live. It was so crazy, dude. I think we peaked at like 32K, and just the fans were great. I also noticed you have like the culture of different schools totally has something to do with the region of the country that they're in. Mm-hmm. I've noticed. Like if you have like if you go to schools more in the South and like I would say maybe even like Southeast specifically, like Georgia, for example, is a good one. It's a lot more like there's a lot more like welcoming atmosphere, I would say, to just talking to strangers. Because you can have you can go to like some different schools on like sometimes some of the West Coast schools, like the average person, there's definitely going to be like fun people to talk to everywhere. But one thing I noticed is it just happens to be easier that if I go to like a Texas A&M or a Georgia, or anything like that, it's just easier to find people that are just like, hey, yeah, come on over, you know, have some barbecue, you know. It's just you'll just have that a little bit more than like you know, some West Coast schools maybe, which is interesting, right? But that's the big thing. Culture matters. I would say culture matters the most. The time of when the game is matters a lot for streaming stuff, and then the game is cool too, because I think if the game is hyped up, then more people are like, oh, this is gonna be a big game today. So yeah, that's kind of how I decide.
You mentioned the Tennessee Georgia game, and that one was as hyped as any game was last season. But when you look back at every tailgate that you've been to, what is your favorite? What tops the list?
That was a big one. That was a big one. But I would say that was a big one. Iowa State, the first year that we did Iowa State versus Iowa. That was another big one. That I did with E-Rob. That was really fun. I did the Georgia with Grayson, and then Minnesota. I went to Minnesota with Bonnie this year, and Minnesota, we worked with Minnesota beforehand to be like, hey, can we get like a tour? Can we get in the stadium? Like, and Minnesota welcomed us with open arms. I mean, I want to go back to Minnesota next year because they first off, incredibly welcoming, super helpful. Like they let us tour the facilities. Like we saw their locker room before the game. It was so cool. It was so cool that they let us go do all that stuff. So we got like exclusive access to do all that. We even got on the field like right before kickoff, and there was a huge clip. There's like a there was a clip that blew up whenever we were on the field and the game had started behind me. I'm like, I go, thank you all for joining us for Esfand's Tailgate Tours, episode 2, and the crowd goes nuts because they get a first down. So the crowd just goes nuts. It's so funny. It is actually so funny. The clip, like, it was all over YouTube for a little bit too, but yeah, that was really funny. But I would say Minnesota probably was the best one. Yeah. I would say Minnesota probably was the best one. And that's the thing. I want to work with more schools directly to be able to get this access. Because here's the thing. This is, in a lot of ways, this is like a big recruiting tool for people too. Like not just recruiting, because I worked in recruiting and I know how this stuff works. Like kids are on their phones all the time. And one of the big like I guess kind of pillars of what we tried to do in recruiting whenever I was at SMU was we need to take the Mustang logo. We need to take this guy, right? We need to take this guy and we need to just put that logo in their hands, in front of their faces, everywhere they look. They need to see that logo all the time so that the kids are just constantly thinking about like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about SMU. What do I like about SMU? SMU's cool. Oh, SMU's showing me love, right? Like all this stuff. So in the same way, it's like Twitch is just another avenue for that. It's like, oh man, this big tailgate show is going to Minnesota. So you're doing that with that M, right? With the Minnesota logo. And it's like I said, it's not really just for football recruiting, but it's also it increases your brand awareness on a platform that has, historically it is not the big place for college football, right? But sports is growing on Twitch, so it's like, oh, I don't know how many people who had no idea about the University of Minnesota and the culture there and how great that was, no idea about it, who watched that stream and they were like, well, now I know what Minnesota is all about, and Minnesota's cool. So even then, like, you might have kids that like end up wanting to be like, oh, maybe I should go for a college visit to Minnesota. I mean, that looked awesome. I'd love to do that every Saturday. So I think getting the chance to work with more schools to be able to do this directly and have that access and not have to like, show up on campus at USC and just try and like walk around and have to wait in a line for 30 minutes to get into the game. Like that's I think where like we need to really figure things out for this next year. And I tried last year, and there was actually a number of schools that reached out, but it's just we ended up not being able to work on getting everything situated. But Minnesota was one of them, and that was a phenomenal experience. So yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Minnesota, because we had a guy that worked for us for a long time named Andrew. We call him Andrewster. And he's now a student manager there. And there's a clip that I think Liam had showed me from your stream where, you walked out from the tunnel and he's like yelling at you and you're pointing at him and stuff like that. So that
really? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
funny. He says like, yo, Esfand, then starts clapping, and then the camera pans to you and like, this is what they're all here for.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So
also an idiot. Andrew's also kind of an idiot too.
He's Hollywood now. He works for the team now. So shout out Andrewster. But you talked about some plans that you have for 2023, and Liam and I came prepared with one tailgate recommendation each that we think you should consider for the coming season. So you talked about the West Coast a little bit. I think one that you might need to consider more than you would have by far last year is hitting up Boulder, Colorado for USC Colorado.
I want to. I absolutely want to. I would love to be able to get in touch with Colorado. And so speaking of Colorado, I was at the Minnesota game when they played Colorado, and one of the old coaches that I used to work with, he was a linebackers coach at Colorado. He came over in pregame, and he's like, I saw that hair flowing from across the field, and I knew immediately what. It was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm doing this. I hadn't seen him in maybe 4 or 5 years. I haven't seen him in forever, but That was yeah. I did want to. I wanted to do Colorado last year, but it didn't work out. But especially this year with Deion Sanders and stuff, I would love to get in touch with them and kind of work on something kind of like I did at Minnesota at Colorado. I mean, hell, if we could get Deion on stream and just to say something before they get, that'd be sick. I think. I just think it'd be that's a really good one. I agree. Yeah.
So I was honestly gonna say North Dakota State, but they're not hosting South Dakota State this year, and that's where the main attraction would be. I try to think outside the box and for what would be the goofiest content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the timing's gonna work there. And you mentioned earlier, like drunk people on stream, like that's good content. I don't know if that's going down at BYU, but BYU Oklahoma, late or middle November, BYU Oklahoma might get a little crazy for BYU standards.
Yeah, BYU. I've thought about doing BYU, because I've actually heard BYU tailgates are pretty good. But I don't know. I've heard they're just good. Like, you're not gonna have drunk people running around, but I've heard they're like good tailgates. I have no idea if that's true or not. But I had somebody tell me like, yeah, that's the thing. The only way to know is to go. So I think BYU could also be a fun one to do. I also wanted to do Oregon. I want to do ones I haven't done yet. I haven't done Oregon. I haven't done LSU, and I haven't done Ole Miss. So I think Ole Miss and LSU especially, like I wanted to do both of those this year and it just didn't work out. Actually, both of those are pretty tough to travel to. It's kind of like hard to get to LSU and to Ole Miss. So what was it? Baton Rouge and Oxford, is that right? But yeah, so they because I remember looking at the travel and I was like, we got to leave then. And there was like something else going on. Like we were doing Loot Goblins at the same time. I was doing another show. So we ended up not being able to do it. But yeah, I think both of those. I think Colorado, I think BYU could be good. I definitely want to try and do Oregon, LSU, and Ole Miss this next year if I can. So I would love to do those.
So we've just got two more questions with you, Esfand. The first goes, you've kind of briefly spoken and hinted at plans for streaming during the NFL draft. Is there any additional information that you could share on this?
I wish there was more that I could say because I'm working on an NFL draft show for the first round. I just want to do the first round, and it would be with me, it would be with E-Rob, and it would be with Will Neff. And basically, I want to do it at WePlay. I want to blow the thing out. I want to make it a huge deal. Do it at WePlay Studio in LA, and just I want to make it sick, like super professional, and I want to make it professional, right, production wise. But I want it to be like this is a Twitch NFL draft show. That's what it has to be. It has to be a Twitch NFL draft show because there's 100 other places you can go to watch the NFL draft. But I want to do a draft show that is like, one, it's only for the first round. It's a one-off. But also it's like this is something for Twitch. Utilizing what does Twitch bring? Twitch brings a community, chat, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of has to be special in its own way. And that is that's the goal right now. That is what I want to do. Now, as far as is it going to actually happen or not, I'm still waiting on, it's going to have a lot of costs. So we're trying to get sponsors, and I have my agents talking to people, trying to figure out something to where we can offset the cost and get everything going. Because it's going to be, if we do it at WePlay, it's going to be an expensive show. So there's going to be like those kind of hurdles, those struggles with that. But at least for now, my plan is to do a big draft show at WePlay. If not, I might do something else. But so we're working towards it. I don't have a final answer on whether or not it's happening yet. But if it does, it's gonna be sick. So
yeah, that definitely sounds really cool, and we're looking forward to that opportunity potentially. We talked a lot about your start in this industry and where you're at now with the Tailgate Tour and all the unique content that you bring. But when you think of the platform that you have and everything that you've created so far and have planned, what is the legacy that you want to create as a streamer? Like, what do you want to be remembered for?
That is a good question. I think over the years, I mean, I'm about to come up on like 6 years now of streaming, and I think every different thing, I've done so many different things, and my stream has grown very like horizontally, is what I'll call it, where like I've just, you know, I'm in this category, I'm in this category, I'm in this category, I'm in this category. And I feel like when people think of me, they always think of it something else, right? Some people think of me as like the Retribution Paladin guy from Classic WoW. You know, some people think of me as Cletus Cornwood for GTRP. Some people think of like my IRL stuff. Some people think of OTK. Some people think of they think of COVID whenever I was doing all those cooking streams and whenever Jenny was stuck here, and just everybody kind of thinks of something else. And I think what I want to be known for, I never really thought about it, but I guess I want to just be known as, I guess I just want to be known as somebody who I guess I just want to be known as a good guy. Like, a good guy who just works hard and just tries to do everything as best as they can. So I always say best of the standard, because we used to say that at SMU, but like that's actually like how I think. Like I always want to try and do my best, like period. So like whatever it is that I do, like I'm always trying to do my best and trying to do and whatever I can to make the most amount of people happy and to make the most amount of people entertained as possible. So no matter what it is, I have like personal like accolades, right? Like from whenever I was playing WoW and I was getting Gladiator, like I joke about that kind of stuff, right? The Grand Marshal Scarable, that stuff is important to me. It felt good. It felt really good whenever I got that. But like at the end of the day, like that's not really what whenever it's all said and done, I think that's what people really know me for, I guess, or what I really want people to know me for. I think it's cool, but I just want people to I guess appreciate that I'm always trying to do my best, I think that's kind of it.
Yeah. Well, Dylan and I can confirm that Esfand is a cool guy.
Confirmed. Second,
yes.
Guys, I'm cool, I promise.
Promise he's cool. Not that much of an idiot, even though he said he was. I think I would like to be like the main idiot here, and I don't know about you, Dylan. I don't know if you're an idiot. Sorry.
It depends on the day. Depends on the day.
All right. Well, Esfand, we thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us. We know you're a super busy guy, to say the least, and we can't thank you enough. For those watching, please make sure to like and subscribe to Us Idiots, and we'd really appreciate it. Comment below anything. Any questions you've got? I don't know. I'm not the best at outros. But again, thank you for watching. Appreciate it a lot.